Where did it all begin? Why are we here? Who are we? Where do we come from? What does it all mean?
I'm gonna do a reaction video off the cuff, and I don't know how it's gonna go, but this guy is such a friggin' idiot.
Hi, it's me, Creaky. I couldn't decide today whether to make a video about a flat earther or a frauditor.
You're gonna cuff me for what?
Now, of course, I don't know if this is set up or not. The guy talking doesn't seem authentic. But as we go, we'll see what happens here, right? And he's from the UK, so I don't know why he even thinks he should be talking about America. What is he criticizing an American for?
Earth is flat, not moving, with a firmament over top of it.
Well, that's handy. He's both.
Tidy.
There's a container sitting there over top of the Earth. Don't worry, conveniently for you, the US military's known this for decades, and there are hundreds of declassified documents that say the Earth is flat, not moving, with a firmament over top of it.
Hello, sir. How are you?
What's up, man?
How you doing now?
I'm doing good.
Ooh, I don't like the look of this. I mean, all he's doing is trying to force his really...
He doesn't like the look of freedom. Why didn't he just say that? Because that's all that's going to happen here. We're going to watch these cops infringe on this guy's rights. And this guy's advocating it, and he's in the UK. Let's go.
I mean, all he's doing is trying to force his really stupid ideas about the shape of the Earth.
He didn't force anything. He's just speaking in public, just like all the people around him. They're all speaking in public. Are they forcing anybody to listen to him? No. Now, yeah, I know. You're going to say, well, he's got an amplified device. Well, he can do that too.
I want to give you every opportunity. We have the permit paperwork if you'd like to apply for a permit. We have your regulations showing you that this is not an approved area.
Woo, yeah! Why are we cheering? Nothing's really happened yet.
We're cheering because most Americans, including you, they think the police should come here and enforce feelings. The police are not feelings enforcers. Now, you heard the police, we're going to give you every opportunity to have a permit. He doesn't need a permit. This is just their way of trying to create some kind of lawful reason to talk to this guy. But see, the problem is they don't have one. He's at a publicly funded place. That platform was made so they could go there and talk. Anything under 85 decibels is not considered unlawful.
But clearly somebody's called the cops, because who wants to hear this garbage, especially from this guy? Why has he got a dicky bone?
And what kind of garbage should we be hearing from you? Granted, the other guy's pretty silly looking, right? He almost seems like he's acting, but these cops aren't acting because they wouldn't be putting themselves in this situation. There's no way. Something's off about this whole thing. What's really off about this whole thing is the idiot from overseas mentality. That's what's really off.
The backwards baseball cap is probably so the kids know he's cool. And the dicky bow and lab coat are for grown-ups. Very clever.
I agree with that.
Would you like to move?
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, so what's the decibel?
He doesn't have to
I'm citing
move.
you for engaging in activity.
Do all those
Well,
other
let me see
people
the-
behind
hold
him
on.
have to move?
Do you know how the law works?
Do you, it's it? And that was a rhetorical question. Of course.
No, neither do you, bald man. You have no idea what the law is, and neither do the cops, and we're going to get to that. See, I don't understand our society at all. We're so flipped that this idiot, let's face it, he looks like a 7-year-old, right? So does the guy talking about flat earth. I'm not giving him any slack either, except for he's intelligent. Isn't it interesting that the only person with any intelligence is the flat earther, right? He knows the law. He has a good grip on the military bullshitting us over everything. While this idiot from the UK is criticizing an American for speaking their mind. But I can guarantee you that all the people around him, whether they have a microphone or not, are speaking their mind too. Let's remember, the only people in this video that are not allowed to speak their mind are the police because they're under policy. He's got every right to speak his mind. But one thing I say about the internet is, if you're going to put things up on the internet, then you're going to put up with things on the internet.
Of course you don't, because if you did, you'd have a permit. And I've said this many times before, the best way to piss off a police
Free speech doesn't need a permit. Does this guy have any brains at all? Anyway, I'm going to move on.
officer is to ask them if they know the law. And spoiler alert, I can't really see this ending well.
Oh yeah. He's asking the police, the law enforcement, if they know the law. Of course it's going to piss them off, because any interaction with the police can turn into an auditing situation if you pop on your camera and record their absolute unlawful commands and nonsense. It goes on and on and on. The cops, they don't care about the law. I walk around my neighborhood all the time. I've been stopped by the dumbest people that I have ever met. And you know what they do for a job? They're in law enforcement. If I had a job where I knew as little as them about the job that I had, I'd be gone in a day. The boss wouldn't keep me around. Anyway, let's continue.
For you.
I'm gonna need your ID.
I don't have to give you my ID. Are you detaining me?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Okay, for what? What suspicion of what crime?
If you fail.
See, this guy's right on point. He doesn't have to give his ID or give up who he is and let these people put him in a database because he didn't do anything unlawful. Clearly, he's not too loud. If he was too loud, one of these people would have walked up to him and said, hey, could you turn that down a little? But nobody even cared about him until the cops came. You might be saying, well, somebody called. We don't know what's going on. These cops were probably already there. Their job is probably to walk around there and do nothing pretty much all day while the public pays for them. We have a thing that goes on down here in the neighborhood on Fridays, and everyone gets together in the street, and the food trucks come and everything. And guess who's roaming around? The cops. Now, do I have anything against that? No. But I'll tell you what, while someone's house is getting broken in, they're hanging around with a bunch of people who don't need the f***ing cops. You see what I'm saying? They're roaming around up and down the street, doing nothing, eating fried food. We don't, this stuff pisses me off because we don't even have a physical requirement for the cops anymore. When I was a kid, we did. Anyway.
Fail to identify yourself, you're gonna be detained.
So to detain me, you have to actually ID me.
Failing to ID is a secondary offense, and he hasn't done anything in the first place. So this is why I'm saying I don't know if someone put all these people up to this or not. I don't know if this is some kind of gag. Who knows, right? But everything about this interaction is wrong. As I said before, you can keep saying, well, he's talking into a microphone. And I already know 85 decibels is the legal limit because, I've worked in many environments, and as soon as the environment goes over 85 decibels, by law, the occupation has to supply hearing protection. It's a very simple thing. It's a PPE thing, and it's been going on since I was, in high school. Some of my shop classes, we had to wear PPE protection. So let's continue.
You have to detain me.
I just have to cite you.
No.
So I'm citing you with 36 CFR 1.6.
Which says what?
For failing to engage or failing to get a permit for an activity.
So can I see this? Can I see the ordinance?
Yes. Over here.
Now these guys want to get him away from the camera to show him the ordinance, right? But there's no ordinance. Public speech doesn't require a permit. And this is why I'm saying, if you want to get pissed off, you just don't know the law. He doesn't need anything to speak in public. And his amplifier can be under 85 decibels. Nothing's happening here except a bunch of fucksies with their feelings hurt because they don't want to listen to him. So what? I don't want to listen to my boss or my brother sometimes or the neighbor's radio all night long. But I don't call the cops. Because I already know what's going to happen, right? What are the cops going to do? They're going to come here and harass somebody, and you know who it's going to be? It's probably going to be the complainant. Now, that's why I don't think anybody called the cops here, because the first person they'd contact is the complainant, right? And then they'd probably find a problem with them. But these cops are probably just at this site. And what they typically do is pick somebody out of the crowd and harass them and unlawfully detain them and try to get their ID. This goes on all the time. This is the reason why the cops are everywhere when we have public events. So they can pick somebody to bully and pick on. Now you might be thinking, if that person didn't do anything wrong, the cops wouldn't be talking to him. That is the biggest cop-splaining, public-splaining horseshit I've ever heard. Because I know from my own personal self that I've been walking down the street minding my own business and 4 cop cars roll up on me. What the fuck is that?
No.
So,
Well, you guys are. Yeah, I don't care if I'm outnumbered by brain dead zombies that go in the house for curfew.
Okay, here you go. Here's the cops planning, right? This is getting tough for me because so the cop literally tells this guy he's outnumbered. By who? By the public? Of course the public's going to outnumber him. You guys are there. They're cheering you on. So now you're going to shame him into not talking about flat Earth at Mount Rushmore of all places. And all these people here don't even realize that we didn't build Mount Rushmore. I believe we found it. These cops don't know that. The people here don't know that.
Curfews and lockdowns.
okay. What I'm asking is, do you have an ID?
You go back in your house. It's past your curfew.
Well, damn, I missed that on my first watch through. He's a COVID denier as well.
Who wouldn't be a COVID denier? You're not a COVID denier? What is this, some kind of shaming language? I mean, one thing I want to point out is that pandemic this and pandemic that and pandemic this and blah, blah, blah. What about this? This pandemic, that pandemic. Anybody who hasn't looked up the definition of pandemic doesn't know the meaning of it. And what we have going around here is not that definition. Okay? It never has. It wasn't for 1 minute. I guess it's just a pandemic. Anyway, I just want to put that out there. Everyone's using wrong words for things because the news tells you that this is what it is, so you run with it.
This guy's a triple threat. Hope I haven't been.
He's a triple threat, which is exactly why the cops are there. That's maybe the second or third correct thing he said. He's a triple threat to the intelligence of everyone around him. He's a triple threat to the coppers. He's a triple threat to your intelligence. Because no matter what he looks like, he's more intelligent than you.
What's up?
Do you have an ID?
Am I being detained?
Yes.
Okay, so suspicion of what crime?
Now an unlawful detainment. See how this is working up? This is the way the coppers do it every single time. They don't have a crime. He doesn't need a permit. They want to force him into the permit. Look, I know how this goes. They want to force him into the permit. That's unlawful because they want his name. Let me tell you something about the coppers. They know that they're rolling up to him with no crime. They have to get that name. It's like drugs to them. If they go back to the station without his name, the name of the contact, I need to put you on my report. Don't ever fall for that. Half these guys aren't even writing a report. That's just horseshit. But anyway, if they go back to the station and they go into the locker room and they didn't get ID, they get hazed. This is serious bully shit that goes on behind the scenes at all police departments. If you watch enough YouTube about law, you'll start seeing this stuff go on behind the scenes, right? Because sometimes people forget to shut off their camera at their job, and some of these people are coppers, and we get some serious inside stuff going on.
You are engaging in an activity that requires a permit.
Can I see the law, Ben?
Yes. Let's go over here.
Why are you trying to move me away from my camera to cite it? You're being really weird.
Take your camera.
No, you can just show it to.
Yep. He is being weird, right? He is being weird. He's literally trying. I call this kidnapping. Come over here away from the camera. Again, they know there's nothing unlawful going on here, and this is why they're trying. I mean, if you don't see the problem here, what if this was you? Wouldn't you be kind of scared? I've been in these situations. This gets scary because this guy doesn't want a camera on him. People believe that cameras are magic, and they might be, because this is what I found out about cameras from watching people on camera. People know that they've done dirty, horrible, embarrassing things. I pretty much believe we all have, right? Nobody's pure, nobody's perfect. But what happens is when someone has a camera on them, what happens is they think the camera is an X-ray machine, and they feel like the camera can see everything that they've done, even if it happened 5 or 6 years ago. It's a huge psychological effect that the camera has on you. I know that the worst people think that the camera can see all of those things. So I believe that they believe that the camera is like a soul searcher or a spirit searcher, right? It brings forth all the horrible things. And if they're always being horrible and they didn't know the camera was there, then they think it caught them doing something horrible because that's who they are. They think that the camera is showing the world who they really are. And guess what? It usually is. I love the people who see a camera, walk up to the camera and say, "Get that camera off me." Well, what'd you walk over here for? And that's exactly what happens with the cops all the time when it's unlawful. The cops try to step to you and keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you and telling you they don't like the camera and they don't want the camera on them. Well, guess what? You wouldn't be on camera if you weren't around. And I'm going to tell you something else, too. I would be one of these people. But I learned not to be one of these people by watching the idiots get in front of a camera and tell someone that they don't want to be filmed, right? Because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I've had to learn a lot of things from stuff I don't like, and I've had to learn a lot of things about my own self by making huge mistakes and being super, super embarrassed. I can't tell you how many times I've embarrassed my own damn self, right? And I've had to reevaluate. There's no shame in that, really, except for the moment that it happens and you realize you're a fucking idiot. We all have to learn.
Don't touch me, though. All right, look.
Just so I have you guys together, you're good together, right?
Come on over here. Right, you said if we stood right.
This is hilarious.
Thank you. But buttering me up won't work. I'm still making the video. And
What are you making a video about exactly? How unintelligent you are and how uneducated you are? That's all that's coming through your video, especially about the laws going on in the United States. If this is the way the UK wants to act to the public, that's fine. I have no problem with that, but don't fucking do that over here.
you think is hilarious? The fact that you're definitely getting arrested or something else?
Yeah, and let me tell you, he's definitely getting arrested. Well, he's definitely got a lawsuit all the way around. So does the cameraman.
Set up
Uh,
now.
You guys support this, don't you? The First Amendment being infringed upon?
So setting
Welcome to the
this
death
up,
of America.
all of it.
Yeah, all the people at this public space do support having your rights crushed because they don't know the law. I'm sick and tired of the public not knowing how much power they have. We could stop everything if we would just get together. You know what would happen if all the people there, if they walked over to those cops and said, "Hey, leave the guy alone"? And you know what's even more interesting than that? You notice the people around them, around this incident, are filming it. Well, here's how flipped they are. They think they're filming it because they're going to put it online and laugh at this guy. They're just creating more evidence to the unlawful nonsense that's going on. I mean, I can't believe it. I never thought I'd be into legalese, but it's one of the things that I study constantly. But look, I don't want to take myself too seriously. I get unsettled about this kind of thing.
Okay. Yay, let's all clap because our First Amendment's getting thrown away.
That's right.
You guys would have been real good in Nazi Germany. Probably would have been the part of the 98% that voted for Hitler. So, to detain me, you have to articulate suspicion of crime.
That's right.
Well, in Wales, going out in public dressed like that would be all the suspicion the police would need. Or was it a dare? If it's a dare, that's...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Does he think the cops wouldn't approach him for looking like a 16-year-old? At, I don't know how old he is, 50-something? He's the exact person that I see the cops approaching unlawfully all the time. Coincidentally, the guy talking about flat Earth doesn't get approached that often. His psychology's so flipped, he thinks that he looks normal.
You haven't even cited it yet. You haven't cited
Of
the
course
ordinance
they haven't,
yet.
because there isn't one.
What does it say?
There isn't
Specifically,
one.
read it.
Go, dude, go.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Let
Negative.
him talk.
So
Dude, read the ordinance.
engage.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. The cops want to talk. They don't want to read the ordinance. He's asked them how many damn times to read the law to him. This is all cops planning. I haven't seen the cops do anything intellectual at all. Not one thing. What I have seen is the guy that's getting criticized have all the knowledge, all the intelligence, all the expertise. And quite honestly, I don't know if I'd be able to hold my frame as long as this guy. He just wants to be treated like the public, right? But you see everyone around him, the public. This was like the Waco thing, right? These people want to see this filthy pilgrim burn, right? We hate each other just because we have a different view. I don't know if this guy is acting, but I will tell you this about him. He might have set this up to get a lawsuit because it's an easy one. These cops are so fucking dumb that they're heading for a lawsuit. He knows it. I know it. Maybe you don't know it, but when the chief and the sergeant and the lieutenant see this video, they're going to tell these two bonehead coppers, we can't hold them. There's no RAS here at all, except that this guy's using an amplifier. So what? A cop has no authority unless a law has been broken. If the cop doesn't suspect you about to commit a crime, in the process of committing a crime, or already committed a crime, they have absolutely no lawful authority to speak to you, and you can walk away from them. Now, they always get into this unlawful detainment. I know, I might be talking about words that you people don't really understand, but this stuff is really important, and it's called legalese. You can beat the cops on the street if you know your legalese. Sometimes. A lot of times they get really pissed off because they get challenged and they realize they have no idea what the Constitution or the Bill of Rights is. They can't even recite the First Amendment to you, so they get really pissed off. They go deep, right? 4 cars, 8 cops, and you're going to get arrested and get your ass beat when you challenge them, right? This is America today. Every single time? No. It shouldn't happen at all. The coppers should go to school for 4 years to be a cop. They get a few months, maybe. Depends. If their family's in law enforcement, they don't need to know shit, right? They just, you know. Anyway, let's continue.
Engaging in an activity requiring a permit.
Okay, so specifically, which part of what we're doing requires the
Using an
permit?
audio device.
Okay, so what's the
Audio,
decibel reading?
Banner.
You can't have it at all.
So can I see the law?
Yes. He's trying to explain this.
I want to see the law.
So what
The cop is not trying to explain this. He hasn't explained anything. Both of these coppers are saying different things. Does anybody notice that? Neither one of them know what they're trying to cite this guy for. Neither one of them know what's going on. Neither one of them even know why they're there. This is what happens a lot. The cops roll up on a situation and they just continue to escalate without even realizing why they're there. Yep, happens all the time. And it's literally happened to me in the moment when I start challenging the cop. I can see it in their face. They forgot why they showed up, but they can't cool their roll. They can't reduce their ego and de-escalate. Once they start escalating, they cannot stop. It's like an energy drink. Once you take 3 or 4 sips, you're gonna get the high. If they can't get your ID, they start getting high and they start doing stupid shit. If they actually end up arresting this guy, you know, because I only watched, I think I only got this far.
What I'm going to need is your ID, or I'm going to need you to
ID,
give me your
ID,
name,
ID,
date of birth,
ID.
state of your auto.
I need to see the law.
Why? Are you a lawyer? Because if you are, you've got the wrong outfit on.
Okay, he doesn't need to be a lawyer to know the law. We can all read. This guy is obviously intelligent. He can read because he knows better than the coppers that he doesn't need any paperwork to do what he's doing. None. He doesn't even need his license, his birth certificate. He doesn't need his social security number. He doesn't need to write his name on a piece of paper to speak in public. You know, I think one of the things that people don't realize is that guy with the lab coat, no matter how stupid he looks, he paid for that platform that he's standing on. And so did you, and so did the coppers, and so did I, and so did my brother, and so did my mother, and so did all the people standing around him. He's paying for the cops to be there. When you are dealing with a cop, you're their boss. You paid for their cars. You paid for their outfit. You paid for their gun. You paid for their badge. This guy paid for all that stuff, including the platform, and he's getting harassed by guys who have no idea. You know what? Let me ask you a question. Would you be all for this if these guys didn't have a gun and a badge? And it was just two guys from the two other guys from the platform. Nobody's. Okay, everyone thinks the cop is somebody. The 2 guys that are approaching him are nobodies. I guarantee you'd be saying, why don't these 2 bullies leave him alone? He wasn't doing anything wrong, but because it's the cops, you think he's doing something unlawful just because they're there. It's not true. You'd be mad at 2 jackboots coming over to him and saying, hey, don't talk about flat earth. Hey, don't talk about how the government and the military are fucking us over. Hey, don't talk about how Mount Rushmore wasn't built by our society. If they weren't in their Halloween costume, you'd be pissed off at the people busting his chops. Don't tell me you wouldn't. And some of you'd even make a video. Can you believe this person bullying this flat earther? Well, I can't believe it's the cops. What do the cops care? I know why they care. Because they're revenue generators. That's the only reason. And this guy's all for it. I don't care what a piece of shit this guy with the glasses is. Does he look intelligent to you? He doesn't look intelligent to me.
Lawyers do not dress up in lab coats, and they especially don't go out into public and try and convince people that the earth is flat. Or
Okay, hold on. Lawyers don't go out in public and convince people of stuff. If a lawyer wanted to go out and convince people, look, he's not. The other thing is, too, I know I haven't finished the sentence, I'm sorry, but there's too much to unpack here. A lawyer can stand on a public street corner and spout off anything he wants because it's legal, okay? A lawyer can wear a lab coat or dress up in any costume he wants. Matter of fact, remember I was talking about that thing a long time ago? I know this video is probably going to be ridiculously long, but we have a big thing that goes on in our neighborhood. One of the lawyers that are around here has a big, like somebody in a bunny suit to attract attention. So in my opinion, that's the same thing. He's trying to convince you to hire his services. And he has a legal right to do that. Just like this guy has a legal right to dress up like an idiot with a bow tie and a backwards cap and a lab coat and spout off anything he wants to too. You know, I think a lot of this has to do with what he's saying. The feelings police are here. Everybody here's feelings are hurt. That's all this boils down to, including this asshole. His feelings are hurt over this. His intelligence is literally being challenged with this video. I kind of think this guy at Mount Rushmore is acting. He may not believe any of this stuff, but he set these guys up perfectly for a lawsuit. Only thing I don't like about it is it's on the premise of the flat earth and the military and stuff. His body language, he didn't, right, because he didn't really seem sincere, did he, when the video started? I mean, video, here we go.
Or at least I hope they don't anyway. So why exactly do you need to see it? Why are you so desperate for them to prove the law? Is it to keep things fair? Because you've already proved that you're a moron.
Wow. Do I even have to say anything about that? Did that nonsense just come out of his mouth? So let me get this straight. You're so brain dead that you don't think the law should be fair? I'd like to sit down at a table across from you and challenge the fact that you don't think that laws should be fair for everybody across the board. No, hold on. You sound psychopathic to me. No fair laws. Like I said, maybe that's the way they do it in the UK, but I mean, this guy's brain dead. Brain dead. Brain dead.
And, you know, fair's fair.
Are you not?
Yeah, fair's fair. Challenge the cops when they don't know what the they're doing. I want to make a point to the audience because I don't know what kind of situations you've ever been in. I've been at work sites where tools are involved, right? And you have to have the intelligence to know what the lead mechanic is doing. You don't want to be standing there with tools that he isn't even going to need in your hands, ready to give them to him, when you should have the tools that he does need ready to use in your hands, right? Does that seem logical to you? Okay, I just want to point that out. Think about that scenario for a minute. What do you think the lead mechanic is going to do when he looks over to his right and sees a idiot with tools that he doesn't even need? Do you think you're going to be challenged? Well, yeah, of course. Especially if you've been in there. I don't know how long these guys been coppers. I've been challenged many times because I don't know what I'm doing. But that's how you learn, right? But the police and the public have a learning problem across the board. And I say the public because most people I know are just as dumb as everybody at this Mount Rushmore site. Not one of them is sticking up for this guy. But they're all filming it. I don't know. I see a couple people in the crowd, though, who really want to do something about this, but they don't know the law, so they don't realize that they are allowed to approach the police. Look, there's been no ruling on how close you can be to the police. No ruling at all. No circuit court, no Supreme Court, nothing. The cops always pull this 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. It's horseshit. It's just cops splaining. Anybody could roll up on these cops as long as they don't get between the guy and the copper. They can't even get an obstruction charge. It won't fly. I don't like the courts, but judges are really specific on what obstruction is. It's important to know because the coppers throw obstruction around all the time. Let's continue.
You're going to be fired, buddy.
You fail like yourself.
I was just at the White House doing this, by the way.
The guy just told the cop he's going to be fired. You know what? Like I said, he might have set these guys up. And you know what? If this goes down really bad, one of these coppers may lose their job. People think that the coppers are never held accountable. It's not true, especially in this day and age. I'm going to say since about 5 or 6 years ago, law enforcement has been held accountable because of cameras. Because this is harassment and bullying, which is two things that are not in the policy of these coppers' job. I know they do it.
You guys realize this is the death of our free speech.
Ah, yes, but free speech is not free from repercussions, is it? Yeah, you can say anything you like, but it doesn't mean that people have to like anything you say.
So that means get arrested? Because people don't like what you say? How would you like it that the cops bang on your door, or, hey, what the hell, might as well go all the way, kick it open, and say, you made a YouTube channel, we're going to arrest you.
If you fail to identify yourself, I'm going to arrest you for refusing to identify yourself.
Wow.
Number 2, I'm going to confiscate all of this as evidence.
Man, that's called theft, big tough guy.
It's called
Let me tell you what the law says.
No.
So whenever you have to come give a warning as to someone doing something illegal,
I gave it to you.
you have to cite the law and read what it says as to what is prohibited.
Engaging in activity requiring a permit.
So what part of it requires the permit?
The way this cop's body language is, he knows. He doesn't know what he's doing. He knows that he's just the feelings police at this point. He knows his ego is busted. The other copper walked away. He's so frustrated that he can't push his feelings and ego on this guy because this guy wouldn't let him. All right, we'll see how this goes. But I want to stress something to everybody, and this isn't legal advice because I'm not a lawyer, but I understand legalese to the point that I can tell you this. If you're ever in a situation with the coppers, every time they open their mouth, tell them you don't understand. I don't understand. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Do you know what I'm telling you? I don't understand. Do you understand me? I don't understand, because you do not stand under the coppers. You do not stand under authority. You are the boss of authority. You paid for it. Don't forget that. So once the coppers start the ego and the feelings stuff, if you want to plead the fifth, you don't be silent. You say you don't understand. And you tell the coppers, I don't stand under you. None of us do. Maritime law is horseshit, by the way. There's a whole big thing about persons and privilege. And then there's the people. Now, I can't be getting into all this stuff. Everybody listening to this right now is not one of the people. We're all living in a situation that we don't understand. We're persons. You know the incubator babies? They're all persons. They were set up to be persons. The people that they grabbed and put on a ship to make slaves out of them, they're all persons. They came to this country and they were labeled persons, not people. We, the people of the United States. This is another thing I was going to get on. Oh, he's at Mount Rushmore. The people who are on Mount Rushmore supposedly wrote the Constitution, right? I can tell that that Constitution has nothing to do with us. That's a completely different civilization. I'm going to get on a whole big rant about that someday. Because the Constitution is about we the people. This society isn't we the people. I wouldn't be surprised if I get kicked off YouTube for this video. And these coppers, they're part of the fraternal brotherhood. You think these are people, they're normal, they go home and then, no, they don't. And one of the things I don't like about, one of the things I don't like about the coppers is they have to do public sacrifices to get where they want to go.
All of it, you arswipe. This has already been explained. You're at Mount Rushmore, and Mount Rushmore's a national park. And even little old me, all the way over here in Wales, was able to find out that use of Mount Rushmore is permitted from time to time with a special use permit.
A little bit of research, well, you ought to do more because Mount Rushmore is public. Do you think this guy didn't know what he was doing? It's clear that he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not an idiot.
A special use permit is issued by the superintendent to an individual, a group, or an organisation to authorise use of National Park services. And I'm almost certain that there is no way you'd get a permit to go out and spread the word that the Earth is flat, mainly because it is.
Okay, here's the thing. I want to point this out. He's saying some stuff that you might say, see, he's got you. Those are all policies. Those are not law. I do not stand under your company's policy of how I should act. Now, when you go to work, you sign a contract saying that you will stand under their policy. Mount Rushmore has no policy over the public. We built the fucking thing. At least that's what they tell us, right? Now, if they didn't tell us that we built Mount Rushmore, fine. He doesn't want to be educated. He doesn't want to read what the policy is. Again, it's a company policy. I know that the public doesn't understand this, right? They don't even use the correct terminology for themselves, and sometimes I don't either. Again, I don't want this to come off as I'm perfect and I know this and I know that. I can't even go out and hang out with the public sometimes because I can't figure out how fucking stupid they are.
But you get the idea.
Audio device and your banner.
So can I read the law? Is that an unfounded request?
I'm not required to print out and show you.
You are required to cite the ordinance and say what it says. Okay, then I'll just research. I'll look it up.
Okay, now this copper is completely... Does he not realize his policy that he stands under requires him to know the codes of the laws that he's enforcing?
Say the ordinance again.
Keep your hands out of your pockets for me.
Say the ordinance again.
Oh, keep your hands out of your pockets for me. He said he was reaching for his phone. He clearly doesn't have any weapons. This is another thing. Oh, everything is wrong with this. These coppers are the dumbest.
Buddy,
Do you have any weapons on?
say the ordinance again.
36 CFR 1.6.
36 CFR.
See what a robot this guy is? All of a sudden he goes into, do you have any weapons on you? What? Listen, copper, if he had weapons on him, you might already be hurt. You're way past that. You know he doesn't have any weapons. You're just antagonizing, harassing, bullying, right? Let's face it, that's what's going on here. Even if it doesn't seem like it, that's what's going on. Why are they still talking to him? They know what he's doing. He's talking to the public. Time to go. Time to go find somebody breaking into a house or stealing a child. Well, how about stealing a $90,000 car? These guys aren't interested in that. They're interested in standing around doing nothing and collecting a paycheck from you and me. That's what they're interested in. See, this situation is a lot easier because this guy can be victimized by the cops. But 3 guys with a gun who are robbing a house aren't going to be victimized by the cops. That's why they don't want to be there. This is your coppers. This is the mentality of the coppers. You call the cops, they'll come 2 hours later to write a report, but they're not going to come while the girl's getting raped because they don't want to get in the way of somebody who has rage, right? That's not what they want to do. They'd rather do this. This is a perfect example.
1.6.
The superintendent may issue a permit to authorise an otherwise prohibited restricted activity, and that means no permit.
Number 1, it says may. It does not mean definitely. May means that the maritime court can throw this paperwork out. The word may is not an absolute. This guy is trying to pull some nonsense out of his ass.
Because far as I can find out, nothing happens at Mount Rushmore without a permit. So why exactly?
Nothing happens at Mount Rushmore without a permit. Let's see. So, no picnics, no sandwiches, no walking, no jogging, no pets, no driving in and around, no conversation, no hiking, no climbing, no sightseeing, no catching some rays, no having a cigarette. So, if I'm to believe his statement, none of these activities go on without a permit. So anyway, I guess we need permits to hold hands with your girlfriend at Mount Rushmore, right?
Do you think you don't need one? Is it because of flat earth, dicky bows and lab coats maybe?
You're gonna come.
No, it's because he paid for Mount Rushmore. How many times do I have to say it? That's why, dude. Ooh. This guy keeps talking so unintelligent and so uneducated. It starts to, it boils my blood when people criticize somebody questioning the cops. The reason the person is questioning the cops is because they feel it in their bones that it's not fair. Now, of course, criminals are going to do it too, and criminals are going to lie. Do I think we don't need coppers? No, of course not. I don't want someone busting my door down and I call the cops and they tell me to go f myself. No. Of course, I want them to rush the f over here and help me out. But at this point in my life, I don't think I'd call the cops for anything. Because you know who would get arrested? I think the statistic is 72% of the time. I'm not positive about this. This is one of the things I could be wrong about, right? Because I could be wrong. The person making the complaint gets arrested. Yeah, think about that for a minute. A copper's interaction with you is to find guilt, not innocence. That's all they're ever trying to do. That's why you tell them you don't stand under them. Because if you say anything else, it could be a minor traffic accident. The first thing they're going to ask you is, were you on the phone? How much have you had to drink? You called them because somebody hit you in the back. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Now, of course, are all cops jerks? No, but these two are. And I'm basing this video off what I'm seeing. Okay? These are the kind of coppers that will roll up on you because you got hit in the back and start talking about, were you on the phone? How much have you had to drink? When was the last time you smoked pot? Oh, I smell an odor. Oh, whose car is this? Oh, this registration is for a blue car and you have a green car. All these lies. Oh, your tag lights are out. My tag lights are out because somebody just smashed me in the back. Oh, no, sir. That's not going to fly here. I've seen this shit happen. I've lived over 50 years. I've seen the cops do some erroneous stuff.
Me for what?
Sir, put your hands behind your back.
For what?
Here we
Take
go.
your phone. Put your hands behind your back.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. Put your hands behind
Wow.
your back. You're under
I guess
arrest.
I was wrong.
I'm under arrest.
This guy over here is clapping.
This is public property, bro.
Well, you're
Look,
not a very good lawyer, are you?
He's not a lawyer. He's educated. And a sergeant isn't going to like this. I'm telling you, people out there, unlawful arrests is, they don't go on. You ever have that dreaded meeting with your supervisor when you know you did something wrong and you're going to have to hear about it now with no defense at all? These two coppers already know that that's going to happen. But their feelings and their ego could not stop them. Why didn't they just walk away when they couldn't cite the code? Let me ask you that again. If you're one of these people like these coppers, because I know there's a lot of people, you don't got to be in one of these costumes to be a raging asshole, right? I don't, because I've been a raging asshole. So you go into the meeting with no defense because you don't have one, because you're wrong. Are you the type of person who makes up an argument? Well, when you make up an argument, you sound illogical.
Is not the same as being public property. You sound like a spoiled child. No, it's mine. Just because something is open to the public, it does not mean you have free reign to do whatever the hell you...
No, you can do anything you want in public. You paid for it. The only thing you can't do is about to commit a crime, in the process of committing a crime, or have committed a crime. That is the only ordinance in public that you have to obey. Why does he think that public property isn't a place where you can do anything you want? Of course you can. This is the big problem with our society. We don't realize this. These people are clapping because this guy got arrested on public property with an amplifier that is not at an unlawful decibel. There is no law against that. Oh, I probably said it a million times.
Right. Why is it that these First Amendment morons can't seem to grasp that?
These First Amendment morons are fighting for everybody's rights, including the people who hate their guts. This is another thing that I don't like about all the criticism that the auditors get. They are literally putting their lives on the line, and you might think that's a little dramatic, but they are. If you're one of these people who never dealt with the coppers, you know, it's coming. It just hasn't yet. You're going to face the reality of who these people really are. Like I said, it just hasn't happened yet. And when it does, you're going to wish an auditor was around. I've watched time and time again auditors save people from having drugs planted, unlawful arrests, towing of cars, stealing of property. I'm talking even guns. We have a Second Amendment in this country. You don't need a permit or a license. I know I'm going to get hate for this. I'm telling you right now, I've read it. You don't need a permit. Now, does your city have ordinance against the gun company who's selling the gun? And they can't sell guns without a permit? Yeah, but the public doesn't need a piece of paper to run around with a gun. The companies, see, when you don't understand the difference between a company and a public, you're flipped and you're upside down. There's a gun store up the street. My city doesn't want them to sell a gun without a piece of paper. That has nothing to do with the public. They're playing middleman with the two companies, the city, which is a company, and the gun store. Yeah, see, it starts to make sense. The language that's in those things makes it seem like the public needs a permit. All the stuff is a code against the public.
It's a pretty simple concept. Supermarkets are open to the public. Are they public property? So
No, that's private property. You dumb ass. Think about how dumb this is. This guy's trying to equate a supermarket to a publicly funded national park. The two have zero to do with each other.
movie theatres, art galleries and nightclubs. They're all open to the public, so do we own all of those as well? Can we do whatever we like in those places? Or do those places have certain conditions that...
No, because they're private. Here's a perfect example of someone who doesn't understand the difference between public and private. You'd think that this guy was making sense. He's not making sense. He's trying to use the words public and private in the same sentence. They don't go in the same sentence. I'm telling you, all you got to do is study this stuff. I'm not super smart. I'm like nobody. But I want to learn these things because I've had interactions with the police that I know isn't fair. I could tell it wasn't fair. I could tell in my bones, like I said before, my heart, my gut, everything knew that this doesn't make sense. How can this be real? How can this guy tell me this as if it's true? It's not. The coppers are legally and lawfully encoded to lie to you. Try to understand, because it's really important. I know that people don't realize that. Detectives, coppers, street cops, every single word. So they like to throw around private and public because they know they're confusing the shit out of you. And by the time you get to a judge, they know that they've instilled you with the most obscurantist terms that you can bring to court. I hope that makes sense to you.
attached to the use of them. Idiots.
I asked you just to show me the law, man.
You keep interrupting.
I asked to see the law, dude.
To you. You're gonna know what the law is when you get addressed to it in the court of law.
Are you kidding me right now?
No,
Why
I'm
can't
not
I just?
kidding.
Do you know it's illegal to not tell me what the law says?
And we've been trying. You keep interrupting.
I've
And
asked you 30 times.
And I'm trying to explain it 30
Okay,
times.
will
You
you
keep
tell me what the law says then?
You need to stop. You need to stop.
Will you tell me what the law says?
You need to stop.
Well, right now the law says you're under arrest. Or
No, the law doesn't say he's under arrest. The feelings police say he's under arrest. You hear all these assholes around him? Yeah, get him. Thank you, officer. These are the same people who wish there was an auditor around when they're in this situation because this guy didn't do anything wrong and this guy can't figure it out. This guy knows exactly what I can tell just by his body language while he's getting arrested. He put these coppers in the worst position they've ever been in. I guarantee you, because these guys don't, I could tell that these cops never dealt with this before. The cop says to him, you're going to find out what the law is when you get to whatever he said. I don't even want to go back. I don't care. You should have read it to him the first 30 times he asked. But there isn't one. You know it, and your feelings are hurt, so you put him in cuffs. And you wanted to look like a hero in front of all these people, but I tell you what, this heroism is going to cost them qualified immunity. And that's another thing people don't understand. But I'm not going into that right now because I'll rant like a mad dog over it. This guy doesn't even realize that these cops are as stupid as him and they lost their qualified immunity doing this shit. And it's on camera. There's 30 people recording them do this unlawful act. This is called kidnapping, guys. And I've followed the cases as they go to court. I've seen the lawyers' videos. I've seen the court case videos. I've seen some of these guys get laws put in the Supreme Courts, right, and the circuit courts. I've watched it. I've been into law for a long time. This video just makes me so mad because this is the type of person who thinks they're smart. This kind of intelligence is called, in my opinion, witchcraft. Because the powers that be have got us so flipped, we think we're educated and smart. We're not. We don't know the first goddamn thing about anything. We don't even know how the blimps worked. Right? We don't know. We don't know what the amusement parks really were for. We don't know what the buildings were for. We don't even know who built them. This is the same thing with the legal stuff. The first people were here that came with the controllers and the programmers were the coppers, right? They weren't going to come here without protection. That's why the coppers are a fraternal order. They go back to the programmers. So you think these two guys in brown Halloween costumes give a shit about rights and protection? No, their organization, their company was never formed for that. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I know this stuff goes really deep. And this video might not interest you at all because you think I'm full of shit. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't care what you think about this video. When you get in this situation that these coppers are engaging in, you're going to wish there was an auditor so he could hop in there and help you out. But if there isn't one, I feel bad for you. I tell you what, I want an auditor. I don't care. There's some that I dislike very, very much. Some that I don't agree with their attitude or the way they approach it in general. I want them standing right beside me, no matter their arrogance, no matter their attitude, no matter their hate, no matter their race, no matter their creed. No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's move on.
Some I know, but even being cuffed isn't shutting this douche canoe up. Why is it that these First Amendment ordered?
The reason being cuffed doesn't shut this douche up is because, number one, he's not a douche. Number two, they never read him the law because there isn't one. They know it and he knows it. And he's just asking them over and over in front of the camera so that his lawyer... I'm going to tell you something. This guy is so dumb, he doesn't realize that lawyers are calling this guy because of this video. If you don't think by now, in 2021, almost 22, that the lawyers aren't watching the YouTubes for this exact content, you're out of your mind. The lawyers know that the coppers are out here doing this. And do you know what the lawyers see? Especially the civil rights lawyers, not even criminal lawyers. That'll come... First of all, these guys have to go through some civil bullshit. Now, I'm not saying everybody who watches this doesn't know that stuff. I get it. Some people are educated, but damn near over 50% of the population hasn't got a clue of what I'm even talking about here. And they're still going to turn around and say, this mystery guy is a f***ing idiot. He didn't say anything that makes any sense. Yeah, well, like I said, I hope there's no auditor around when this happens to you, because it's coming. People don't understand. The coppers are coming for you. It just hasn't happened yet. Or your kid, or your, I'm just saying the scenario is going to happen to someone you love. Or you personally.
That claim to know the law better than any police officer, any lawyer, even any judge.
It's not the police's job, and I'm being sarcastic, to know the law. Obviously, because none of them know it. Not none of them. People think I like to watch the YouTubes and see the coppers go down in flames, but that's not true. I love the good interactions because some coppers do know exactly what they're doing. They do, and they have great conversations, and they say, I agree, and I understand, and I get it, and I don't want to make a problem, and I don't want to bring anybody to jail, and I don't want to harass anybody. But you know what these guys end up telling people? That if they don't act like the bad cops, well, they usually stop there because they don't want to go into the fraternal order rulings, right? The rulings of their fraternal order are quite harsh. And you don't want to be in that locker room, right, without protection from the other cops. And you don't want to be on a street corner with 6 guys with a gun and you call for backup and nobody shows up, right? You got to understand where these cops are coming from, too, because I do. I get it. Like I said, I had a best friend who was a cop. He went to Dade County. You know how many times he needed backup? So if he didn't harass and bully and unlawful arrest and, desecrate rights, what chance do you think he would have of surviving as a copper? I know. Mystery, you don't make sense. Does that make sense? Because any dumbass can figure that out.
They all seem to have missed the part that says they have the right to remain silent. So why don't they? Please, remain silent.
All I did was ask you to read the law.
Yeah, I understand.
And you guys still never read the law.
Let me tell you something. This cop had put himself in a worse situation. The guy with the hat and the coat, the flat earther, said, "I just wanted you to read the law." And the cop literally said, "I stand under that." You see how important this is? He told him he understands. Hey, I'm just telling you.
I asked you guys that over there.
Hey, dealing with this gentleman, same thing. He's either going to identify himself or going to detain him as well.
So why can't I just ask you what the law is? Is that not reasonable?
So now the cops are throwing all these feelings around. Same with this guy. He's going to identify or he's going to jail too. You don't have to identify unless you're in custody, being booked. That's another whole thing. I'm not going to get into it. There's no such thing as a stop and ID state, folks. I know. You're going to come at me. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Find it. It's not there. It isn't true. The coppers are allowed to lie to you. If I have to say that one more time, try to understand every single thing out of a copper's mouth when he's harassing and bullying you is a lie. Do all cops lie? Yes, even the good ones. I just went through all that.
I told it to you multiple times.
But I wanted to know what it said, man. Because I had 5 different officers.
I told it to you multiple times. He never said it. Because it's horse shit.
I'm not required to
Lie about what the ordinance is, like numerous times. You have to prove that what I'm doing is illegal, man. It's the law, dude.
And I did.
Oh, somebody said that's right when he said you have to prove I'm breaking the law. Somebody said that's right. At least there's somebody there.
And it says what specifically?
Engaging in activity requiring a permit.
And then underneath that, it identifies this as an identity that this needs a permit.
It doesn't. It doesn't. He knows that.
So why wouldn't you just tell me what it says?
Well, it's probably for the same reason you didn't just say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I needed a permit."
No, he didn't say that.
I'll just take my
You're
camera,
putting words in
my
his mouth.
tripod,
No.
and my dicky bow and move my insane rambling somewhere else.
No, what he said was, and underneath that, and then the cop cut him off. Because underneath that, it says that he can do it. Because guess who built it? The public. And he's not under the code of unlawful decibels. You see? I know that's where he's going because I know he knows and that he read it and he wouldn't be there doing that if he didn't. One of the things that I don't like about our society is that if you're a flat earther or an old world researcher or a mud flooder, we all know that this is all very intelligent research, thought process, logical deductions to a reality, right? So, do you think that this guy didn't put the same logic, education, red pill mentality, research, deduction into what he's doing at Mount Rushmore? Do you really think that a flat earther or an old world researcher with the intelligence to research this stuff doesn't realize that the laws are horseshit too? And he wouldn't go after that with just as much tenacity? Well, I could tell you right now, I'm one of them. Once I found out that we didn't go around the sun, I realized that authority was bullshit. I don't know if I want to do any more of this. This guy got arrested. No, he didn't get arrested. He's getting kidnapped. He's getting extorted. The only criminals here are the guys in brown Halloween costumes. And this is advocating for the public to be worked over at the very places they paid for. I can't do anymore. I probably ranted enough. It's disheartening and it's soul crushing and it really doesn't feel good that we have people making videos like this who literally know absolutely nothing. This guy doesn't realize he should research with integrity where we live. This guy's from the UK. Doesn't he look at the buildings around him? No, his brain's shut off. He thinks that the coppers are right in this situation? And that all the people around this guy with the lab coat are educated and intelligent? We're flipped. You get a big F- in the school of logic, education, morality, logic, and any sense of intelligence at all. Thanks for watching.
Where did it all begin? Why are we here? Who are we? Where do we come from? What does it all mean?